Hello everyone and welcome to this basic introduction to Adobe Audition 2019. Here we have one of the interfaces of Adobe Audition. You can see that there are several different categories up here. I'm going to start by going to Window and Workspace. This is the default view. I'm going to select Classic, and you can see the interface has changed slightly. I happen to like this one because I can clearly see the time and the VU meters. But all you need to do is go up to Window, Workspace, and pick whatever view you like. There's also Radio Production, which changes the view slightly. Again, I like the classic view, so that's where I'm going to leave it. Okay, this window is where essentially we're going to be editing audio. Here I can watch the time. Here I can watch the VU meters, the volume control. And over here to the left is where I'm going to import my audio files. Above that is waveform. This is if you want a single audio file. And multi-track is when you want to put your whole show together with multiple tracks. Now I'm going to go to Adobe Audition and set my microphone. So I go up to Adobe Audition, I go to Preferences, and go down to where it says Audio Hardware. I'm looking at the input level, and it's already been selected that I'm using the Yeti microphone. And if yours is got a built-in microphone, it might look like this. And so what you do is just go in, put it down to the microphone that you're using, click Yes, and then click OK. Now we have the view set, we have the microphone set. I want to import my audio. Where is my audio? Well, on my desktop, I have a file folder, and I have the raw materials. I have the music, the show intro, and the interviews. That is in one file folder, which is on my desktop, because I want to put all of my materials into that file. It'll become clear to you in just a bit. All right, so now we want to import those file folders. We can do that a number of ways. If I go to the Open File and click on that, then you can see it opens up the file. If I click on Music and click Open, then the file goes into this area and also into the editor. That's one way. A second way would be to go to Import File folder right next to it. If I click on that and I select Show Intro and hit Open, the only difference between these two is that you see here that both files went into the file area, but the music one did not go into the editor. Simple to fix. You just drag it in there, and there you go. Okay? Now, a third way to do this would be simply to drag in the materials. So I can drag in the different tracks, and all of my material is now inside of the file folders, and I can begin to individually work on them. Let's start with the music. I click on the music, and I can tell by looking at this that the sound is consistent. And because I've worked with this audio before, I know it's going to be good. But I'm going to watch the VU meters. If I click and hit the space bar, watch the VU meters down here. Okay, this is good because it's green to yellow. It does not get into the red. Let me click someplace else. All right, so that's a good audio level for this music. Now I'm going to go to the show intro. I double click on that. Different story here. I can tell that it's what we call overmodulated. It's too hot, too loud, because it's pinging into the tops here. So because I want the audio on this entire line to come down, I can use this tool called the Adjust Amplitude. All I need to do is pull it down like that. And now let's take another listen and watch.
Welcome to A Hard Look.
Still a little bit into the red there. I want to have it come down a little bit more.
A Hard Look.
Okay, and probably one more time.
The administrative law.
Okay, that's good. Now, suppose there was just one area that was too loud. I'm going to highlight this, and for demonstration purposes, I'm going to make this louder. So when I listen to it, watch the VU meter.
Actual daily life from regulatory.
You can tell that that is way too hot. So what I do is I just highlight that part and I bring the amplitude back down Try it again.
through daily life from regulatory.
Okay, so that's good. So now I've got good control for music and for show intro. Now I want track 1. This is my host, and I can tell visually by looking at it, it's a little loud here, which is not uncommon when you first start talking, probably because you're a little nervous. So let's bring that down a little bit. Okay, I can tell that probably it's going to be just a little too hot here too. So I'm going to bring this down. Now let's take a listen.
The administrative law review at the Washington.
Okay, that's good.
So we're really.
And let's take a listen.
And you're right, it touches on.
Okay, I can tell right here it's a little bit hot. I'm going to bring it down.
To my education.
All right, so that looks pretty good. The audio levels are pretty good. So now, and I go to my ending, and that looks a little low to me. Let's see where it plays back.
Hard look. On our next episode.
Yeah, it is a little low. We want it to be a little bit higher.
And thanks to our listeners.
Okay, in the yellow around here. So now we have done all of our basic editing in the waveforms. Now it's time to go into multi-track. So I'm going to double click, and up will come a dialog box, and I can simply create a name, Podcast 1. I want to delegate all of my audio to the same place inside this file folder. So when I use this pull-down menu, I want to make sure that it indeed says it's on my desktop and Edit Audio Tutorials Raw Materials, which is this. That's exactly where I want it to go. I'm going to click OK. Now you have a choice of a template. You can just use a template for podcast, and if you choose to do that, it automatically sets your sample rate and bit depth, or you can use none and set your own. I'm going to use the podcast and then click OK. Now you see that I have already some names of things here. That's because it's the template. The music bed I want to edit first, so all I need to do is just drag this up to the beginning like that, and I usually just use the music bed and 1 or maybe 2 lines for all of my audio. I don't need 6-8 lines of audio. This is not a music video. Okay, so now I want to start editing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the music, and I'm just going to drag it into track 1 and play it. There I go. Okay. Now I want the introduction to start after the music is up at full strength for a bit. So I'm just going to take this show intro and drag it to about here. Now I need to get a closer view, so I'm going to take this back end here and just zoom in, all right? And that gives me an idea. I'm going to go in about the 4th beat, so let's take a listen. Right there. So I pause it, and what I need to do is I need to bring my audio over here. But I can't just do it myself. I've got to get this little move tool here, and I can bring it over like this. So now when I listen to it,
Welcome to A Hard Look.
now you can tell that the audio from the music is too loud once the voice starts. So how do I fix that? Here's where I'm going to work individually. You can see on this music track line there are 2 different lines. The lighter line is the pan line. That is right and left. Leave that alone. The yellow line is volume. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the mouse, and I'm going to, where this lines up right here, I'm going to click so that it creates a little diamond. I'm going to create another little diamond right next to it. Now I'm going to bring this second line down like this, so that when I play this, the audio comes down.
Welcome to A Hard Look. The
All
administrative.
right, and I can control this. I can bring it up. I can bring it down. I might want to have it up a little bit more. Then I get to the end of the audio introduction, and I want the music to swell up to full strength again. So then I'm going to put the nodes again. I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to click right next to it. Then I'm going to have this come up to about there. Let's take a listen to what this sounds like.
Is a hard look.
Okay, so now I have the music open, the introduction and the music full up again. Now I want to bring in the host. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this track and I'm going to bring it right over here and play it again.
Hello, and welcome to A Hard Look.
Ah, what happened there? I hear some noise. Well, let's take a listen here. Let's move this down here, and I'm going to just isolate this sound and work only on this track. And I can do that by going to the M and muting this track and muting that track. So now what I want to do is I want to listen to the beginning of this. You hear that sound? Well, so now what I want to do is I want to use the plus sign to make this bigger. And what I want to do is I want to edit this out. I want to edit out this audio right here. I just can bring it in like that. And let's take a listen to what it sounds like.
Hello, and welcome.
Okay, that's better. That's better, but I can probably get it just a little bit better by going in a little bit more and bringing it in to right there. Let's take a listen.
Hello, and welcome.
Okay, that's much better. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to zoom back out again to get a more decent view. So I'm going to bring this back out, okay? And I'm going to unmute these two. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it back up here. So now let's take a listen to what this sounds like.
Hello, and welcome to.
Okay, so we need to bring the music down again, right? So we need, when he starts to speak, we're going to put a diamond here, a diamond here, and we're going to come back down. All right, so let's listen to it again.
Hello, and welcome to A Hard Look, a podcast by the Administrative Law Review.
Okay, so we would continue to work with our audio levels until we got them to a place where we were satisfied with them. Now I'm going to, just for expediency purposes, pretend that we're all finished with this and now it's time to export. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to File, Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, Entire Session. This is the title. We want to check again that it's going to the right place, right? This audio tutorials. And we want it to be an MP3 because we want to put it on the web. The only thing I'm going to change here is I don't want stereo. I want it to take up less space. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use the change button there to switch to mono. Click OK. And now when I click OK, it's going to export it. I'm going to click yes. And now you can see that it's mixing down those two tracks into one. So if I go into my audio materials here and I click in, there is my podcast. All right, so that is basic editing in Adobe Audition and exporting, and I wish you the best of luck in editing.